There's a spot way back in the boondocks. All right, welcome everyone to another episode of the Canadian Country Music Podcast, sponsored by Hooligan Fuel Hot Sauce, where you can get the best tasting hot sauce for every occasion at hooliganfuel.com. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much for tuning into the live premiere. Please make sure to click the subscribe button and that bell so you know when we premiere next. Also, give us a good old thumbs up because you love us, obviously. If you are watching the premiere, make sure to click that live chat button and chat with us now. And if you're listening on any major podcast streaming platforms such as Spotify or Anchor, thank you so much for listening. I am your host, Tim Albertson, Canadian country artist and lover. Today, we talk to Alberta's own Kadooh. After a decade in the music business, known as the guitarist and backing vocalist of the incredible rock band State of Shock, Kadooh took the music looking towards a new path, crossing into the country genre and stepping in front of the center stage as a solo artist. Now, Kadooh has been in the country genre since 2018, but his musical influences expand well into the classics like the great Charley Pride and Conway Twitty. And as a guitarist, he wore out Garth Brooks, Micheal Montgomery, and Brooks and Dunn records again and again. In 2018, in his very first year, Kadooh won his very first country music award, earning the Ray McAuley Horizon Award at the BCCMAs. Continuing on to 2019, where he released his self-titled EP and went back to the BCCMAs and picked up Video of the Year for Somethin to Roll On. Now, Kadooh has released a new track entitled Rattlesnake Fight, and if you haven't heard it right now, you guys are living under a goddamn rock. Extremely catchy, a completely new sound, in my opinion. I can't think of another song, honestly, that reminds me of it in today's country music genre. The single is now on all major streaming platforms. Radio stations around the country can request the single, and it's on Sirius XM. And it's also becoming the latest TikTok trend. Did I also mention this man works hand in hand with Chad Krueger and Jeff Johnson, only two pioneers of Canadian music in general. Canadian Country Music Podcast listeners, give it up today for my incredible guest, Alberta's own Kadooh. Sir, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast today.
Hello, sir. Thank you for having me.
Oh, man, my pleasure. First off, before we dig into the hundreds of questions I have based on your music career so far, let's break down the backstory. Where did the music bug hit you?
Well, growing up in Alberta, little town called Hannah, there wasn't a lot to do. It was the Kadooh can't sit still in class, or the class clown. So I think he needs to go to the counselor. And lo and behold, the counselor had a guitar, and I got prescribed guitar at a young age, which I know I probably suffer from ADHD, like 3/4 of the population, probably 90% to some degree. And it was one of those things. I kind of picked it up and I really enjoyed it. It was a good outlet. Fast forward a couple of years, I met a guy from my small town that you mentioned, Mr. Chad Krueger, and he was friends with my older sisters. And he also played in a cover band in town. And I knew that this dude was a guitar player. So I met him at a small town party. He's like, yeah, bring $35 and wake me up at about 4 tomorrow afternoon. And I'm like, wake you up at 4 in the afternoon? And I'm probably like 15 or 16 at this point, 15. Because I walked across town with my amp and my Telecaster and knocked on Chad's door, and he brought me in and started showing me some chords, and he kind of taught me how to jam. He's like, I got an old set of drums. We're going to set them up in this vaulted upstairs of this old house that he lived in with his mom, sweetheart Debbie. And he would drum and teach me rhythm progressions, and eventually he would teach me harmonies, and that was kind of the first thing. I did sing in choir, so thankfully I have a little bit of pitch once in a while, and and so it kind of evolved from there. You know, he had this old mixer board that is, I don't know if his grandfather had because his grandma and grandpa were in a band. His grandma was a drummer, I believe, and I think his grandpa played bass. So he came from a very musical background, and we had these old 70s box speakers. So he took these 1/4 inchers, and on one end he spliced them and tied them into the box speakers, and then routed them into this old mixer board.
Wow.
And We had a PA.
Full MacGyver.
Like, I can still remember with the screen over top of the zigs, like diamond pattern on the front, and nothing was grounded. So as soon as you touch the mic, it zapped the shit out of you.
Yeah.
And so you had to learn to project at a very early stage. So that was exactly where I learned. That's where I got bit with the bug of like jamming music. Chad would sing and teach me to sing harmonies, and we would just do a guitar drum jam.
That is one hell of a music teacher,
dude. Like, really, I've been so blessed and spoiled to see the evolution of that guy from where he was then to where he is now, and yeah, just blessed to have that guy in my family for 3/4 of my life.
100%. Well, I mean, I'm sure you're asked all the time why country, but looking back into your country background, seems to have always been in your DNA. So my question is, why State of Shock to begin with?
Well, I moved out from Alberta in 2002, I think it was, and I played in a bunch of different acts. The first one was called Odd Man Rush. I'll never forget that. And I'd be like, well, unless they're not sports fans, then they're not going to get it. But
true that.
No, I kind of, growing up, I had a lot of country. Then getting into my teenage years, you get that angst. Grunge was huge. Not to date myself, but I really don't care. Well, we're all riding the rock together.
True that.
If we could slow it down, that'd be awesome, but we can't. So I kind of got into that grunge era with Live and Alice in Chains and Nirvana, obviously. And yeah, it was kind of expressive for me at that point, because obviously I had, like I said, the teenage angst and wanted to get out a little more aggression. So I kind of fell towards the rock side. And plus, every dance I went to in Hannah we got our dose of country.
Yeah, true that.
Mom taught me to two-step before I even walked out the door. So, but I always had a love for it. Like, my appreciation for music the spectrum's so wide, because a good song is a good song. It doesn't matter what genre it comes from. Like, To Unlimited, there was like all these dance things that were coming out in the late 90s, and anything that made you move I was a fan of. So as I kind of progressed in the rock world, I was hanging out with Chad and being very fortunate to be a fly on the wall for records like some of the Daughtry singles that were recorded, and the Hinder record,
Wow.
Default, when they were first starting out, Theory of a Dead Man, and I got to be, I got the look every once in a while because I was outspoken, and they're just like, you don't say anything.
Yeah. Just sit there and just soak it in.
Just absorb,
Yeah,
so
100%.
Rock was right there, and Chad, obviously being in a rock band, that was kind of our flavor that we jammed, because it was fun. Not to say that country isn't. So then I joined. Okay, let me get the chronological. This is an hour long, right?
Yeah, 100. It could be an hour and a half if we need. I'm 100%. I'm all in.
So you'd be like, holy, edit. Yeah, so Joey Moy and Chad were working on numerous projects, and Joey knew the State of Shock guys, Johnny and Jesse.
Okay, yeah.
And they had already done a record. They were looking to do, they were in the middle of recording new songs for another record and looking to add a guitar player. So Jesse contacted Joey, got my number. He called me, and I went and tried out, which was really weird for me. It's super nerve-wracking because I'd never really tried out for a band before. And,
fair enough, yeah.
And I wasn't like the best guitar player. I could play a bit, I was winging it. I never really had any technical training or anything. It was all like, oh, that's right. Oh, no, that's wrong. Oh, like one of those. And so I met with Jesse. what a great dude. I hit it off with the guys right away, and the girl, Allie, obviously.
Yeah.
And they brought me in. I later found out it was just because I was bigger and I could haul gear. That was the main reason.
there's always that one other exception.
100%. I said to the drummer, I go, we were hauling gear, and I said, now I get it. And he goes, yeah, we didn't hire you because you're a good guitar player. And he goes, no, we needed somebody to help with gear. And so that was the disclaimer that I missed when I signed on the contract, but I'm good at hauling gear. So,
well, how tall are you?
I'm 6'2".
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not massive, but a little above average.
Yeah.
And I loved when I first listened to the demos that Johnny and Jesse had and Cam. I really liked the stuff. It was cool, and I enjoyed it. And then I was fortunate enough to be able to co-write some of the great singles that we released, and we took off running, man. It was cool. I joked with Chad when we released Money Honey. I'm like, hey, if you need somebody to open up for you across Canada, let me know. And he's a businessman, you know.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you got to put asses in seats, dude. And it was probably about just under a month later, Money Honey's crossed over to the pop, to the pop stations, and it started to climb. And I got the call, hey, what are you doing all summer? Like, I don't know. You want to open up for us? I'm like, shit, yeah.
Depends. Can you put asses in the seats, Chad?
Yeah, I don't know. Play too? Yeah, totally.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, dude, and that's how it all took off. It was awesome.
Well, I mean, even behind you right now, like I can see the plaques. What are the plaques sitting behind you for the people who are watching the YouTube?
I didn't do that on purpose. It's just where my computer sits.
Oh, well, fair. I would put them in front of my face.
Dude, you know what? There was 56 people in my graduating class. So I got to tour the continent in a rock band with some of my favorite artists that I grew up with. It was awesome. We have, so obviously a long story longer. I am proud. There is a gold record, a gold single. There is a double platinum single, another gold single, and I think that's about it. But it's rad, dude. It's cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, pretty cool. Very grateful for all of those experiences. So, dude, we tore up Thunder Bay. Come on.
You did. I was there. It was incredible.
Came through a couple times.
Yeah. Last time you guys were here, like I said, it was with Finger 11, and you blew the place up.
That's cool.
But yeah, so you guys are now you're currently signed with 604 Records, who also hosts Andrew Hyatt and Dallas Smith and JoJo Mason, as well as Marianas Trench and Carly Rae Jepsen, and even Thunder Bay's own Coleman Hell.
Right.
I'm always curious when talking to signed artists. I like to break down the process of an actual record signing. For those of you who don't know, 604 is obviously run by Chad Krueger. And if you don't know who that is, I don't know how you've lived on this earth without natural selection getting the best of you. Obviously, lead singer of Nickelback. Now, I'm picturing you from State of Shock. I see you boys lived when you toured with Finger 11 to be working with one of the pioneers of Canadian music, not just country, but every genre. Who makes the first contact in that?
As far as the record signing, or the reaching out in that sense, is that what you're
in terms of the actual 604 Records, like you actually getting the contract with?
Well, so what happened is State of Shock kind of fizzled out about 2012, somewhere around there, and I didn't do music for probably a couple of years, and I ran into Jeff Johnson, and I hadn't written for a while, here and there, very sparsely. I wasn't really sure what to do. I just kind of was working a day job kind of thing, and I ran into Jeff, and he said, well, why don't we write some songs? And I knew that he was doing some country stuff. I had met Jeff when he was doing a development deal as an artist at 604 years before.
Yeah.
And I loved his stuff. He's so talented.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just started writing songs. And we wrote a few songs, and I wasn't thinking too much about it. And Jeff, I sang down a couple demos, and Jeff said, well, you ever thought about being the guy? You know, you got a pretty unique voice. And excuse me, as I'm burping, pardon me. And I was like, well, I guess I moved from Alberta to do this, and maybe this is, you know, where my direction, where the universe is going to pull me. So we just started writing songs, and a buddy of mine called me, and I was in the midst of figuring out, okay, how am I going to get about 15 to 20 grand to do my own EP?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm like, well, I own a home, so I can probably second mortgage it. Sounds legit. You got to jump 2 feet in.
Yeah.
And a good friend of mine called me and said, oh, well, I'd love to help you out. And so he basically funded my first EP, which was amazing.
No doubt.
And so I recorded it on my own with Jeff. We did a 4-song EP. And we finished it. Then I sent it to Chad and said, let me know what you think. Cause he's always great at like, anytime I'd I'd come up with an idea, I'd send him a voice note or something. And he'd be like, this part's good. No good. This part's all right.
Yeah.
Be better, you know, digging on the vocals or digging on the lyrics. He's always been super awesome at like, yeah, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, you know.
Oh yeah, it doesn't beat around the bush either, just like straight to the point. Yeah.
And those are the people you need in your life for sure.
100%. Yeah.
And so I sent it to him and said, if you want to pass it on to Simpkin, Jonathan Simpkin, who is the other owner of 604, because I didn't want to be like, oh, I've known Chad all my life, so he's going to sign me to 604, you know? And it wasn't until literally I started doing this on my own is when it started to evolve and be better. And Chad actually recognized that it was good, you know? And I realized that if he was willing to pass it on to Jonathan, then I was doing something right. So he passed it on to Jonathan. I met with Jonathan, and I basically have dealt with Jonathan. Chad doesn't have too much hands-on to deal with the label.
Yeah.
So, well, in my department anyways. And it just kind of fumbled, or it kind of avalanched or snowballed from there. Jonathan brought me in, said, how many other ideas do you have? What do you have for catalog? Vault? Are you willing to do this, whatever?
Yeah.
It was kind of one of those things. And so we just basically signed on to a record deal. There wasn't any publishing or anything involved. It was strictly more of a management and record deal. So,
okay.
Which nowadays it's kind of, I don't know what advice to give or how to give any insight as far as that is, because there's so much you can do on your own, but eventually I think you definitely need a team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
there eventually becomes a point in your life where it just becomes way too overwhelming for one person to be able to manage everything successfully. Yeah. Well,
and also being able to push it in directions that you wouldn't necessarily be able to do on your own. Knowing, you know, networking, the whole, we know this many people, and you know this many people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then having somebody that's excited about it, that can push it here, push it there. You need that in the music industry. You know, I would be very surprised to see a solo artist, and I'm probably going to eat my words, you know, come out with an amazing song because it's supposed to be, you know, the best song wins, and be able to do that on their own without a great team, marketing and advertising and just radio, like everything. There's so many check like so many boxes to check.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like even if you did see somebody in the independent market do it, there's a really good chance that there's a company in the shadows that's kind of helping them out to see what they can do with it. And then if this turns out, then let's actually sign this person.
Most of those people, somebody's already noticed that, oh, there's huge potential here. We're just
Yeah.
going to be a silent partner, and we're just going to give you, here's the funds.
Yeah, exactly.
So it definitely takes money and a team.
Mm-hmm. So when you first when you sign the contract, is there like a quota that you have to meet, like certain things in order to continue on with the label? Like, do you have to have an EP or a CD out every year or anything like that?
I have no idea. No.
Perfect.
I'm just
Ask
winging
my
it.
lawyer. He was the one that read it.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Just floating here. Well, you kind of, when I signed on, I already had the product. We added 2 extra songs to the EP.
Mhm.
And then it was more of like, okay, when do we want to release a single? There wasn't a whole bunch of label pressure because they already had the product. So now I'm working on the second EP,
Yeah.
and which basically involves writing and writing and writing and writing and filling the vault and then going,
Yeah.
okay, which ones do we want to use? And when is the most appropriate time for us to put something out?
Yeah.
Because it's been kind of tough across the country for me as a solo artist. I haven't had a ton of love at major like reporting stations across the country.
Mhm.
There's Vancouver JRFM has been unbelievable. They picked up a couple singles. Winnipeg picked up one. Niagara Falls picked up Wiser Than Me.
Yeah. Oh, amazing song, by the way. I love that.
Yeah. So there hasn't been I haven't charted one yet. So it's been like, and that always weighs on your mind as far as the label is investing and letting
Mhm.
you write more songs and release more songs. So that always, I would say, lies in the back of my mind, but I'm not getting the, thankfully yet, whether it's happening behind the curtain, and I don't know.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't know about this Kadooh guy. We might have to axe him. But yeah, exactly. I had to cane off the stage.
Highly doubtful.
Well, Jenna Robson, who manages me through Simkin Management, and she also works at 604. They are so supportive, and they back their artists like nobody else. And it's just like, okay, well, let's do this. Let's keep writing. Even just being able to be on the label with Andrew Hyatt, who I think is one of the coolest dudes, and I love his music. It's weird. I'm not saying I got a little bro crush on him.
Hey, I do.
Dude, he's such a cool cat, and he's got great tunes. And JoJo, another great artist, great songs. Great heart. It's been awesome to be a part of such a great family.
So. And you know what? To be honest with you, the way I see with 604, like all of the country artists on there, they're not similar at all. They all have their own little style. Yeah. So it's not like 604 picks up an idea and they're like, let's just oversaturate it like crazy. It's no, you guys all have your own little lanes and you're all doing extremely well, in my opinion, on which ways you guys are going.
No, you know what? It's been awesome. I couldn't ask for, I'm grateful for everything, dude.
100%. Now, me being a lover of all kinds of music, I was a huge Much Music fan. I followed a lot of artists from that era, and I was very fortunate to actually open up for quite a lot of them over the years and meet even more of them. But one thing I was very certain of at a young age is if Chad Krueger had his hand in the production of the song, chances were you were going to hear something with an insane hook in it. It was going to be either upbeat and dancey, or tear your heart out ballad, or a fuck you breakup song. Sorry, sorry, Mom. And I believe that there was a time where he had his hand on like 5 of the top 15 singles in the States. Like the gentleman is a genius. So, what is it like being in a studio with Chad?
It's so funny because I've known him for so long, and he's more of like he's so like a big brother to me, and it's been such an honor to watch even his evolution,
Mm-hmm.
and be able to sit in it and watch him create and how his brain works. It's he's one of the best songwriters of our time. You know, I've told him he's one of the most resilient, strongest people I know. He over and over and over again proves his worth in
Mm-hmm.
sales and radio smashes, and then has to sit and get shit on
24/7, 365. Yep.
it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to just continue to just knock him out of the park, you know, it's been an honor to be around him and to learn from him. And obviously, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Not that I skin cats. I'm kidding, Heidi. It's my cat.
It's getting cold out. You're gonna need that hat, man.
I need a fur.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
She's gonna get me in my sleep now. No, but it's so neat to, I guess to wrap it up. It's an honor, and I've been super spoiled to be able to sit and watch that creative brain work. It's he's like it's so quick, and Jeff Johnson is very similar. Obviously, Chad's planted a few more than Jeff, but Jeff is that very creative. I love working with these guys that they grocery list so quick, and I'm that guy that goes and rearranges the puzzle pieces a little bit and sits back and you know.
Right, I'm going down the aisle and being like, yes. I want that today. I want that today. I want that today.
100%. But you know, he took me with him to the SoCan Awards. I think it was 2 years ago, maybe 2019, 2020. Might have been the start of 2020. I can't remember. But to hear that, you know, he's penned 110 songs, yeah, he's the most successful songwriter in Canada.
Right.
You know, it's like it's super neat because I don't view him as I view him as two different people. Right? That international rock star, but he's like my big brother on the other side, and so he's been instrumental in guiding me and giving me lots of great advice. So to sum it up, it's been an honor, and I'm super grateful to be able to be even a part of his life up to, you know, for the last 20 plus years of mine.
That's incredible.
Cool.
Now you said that he's given you some good advice. Off the top of your head right now, what's one of the best pieces of advice he's ever given you?
Think before you speak.
Good advice.
I'm still working. I haven't grasped it yet. I haven't quite got it. You know what? He has one of the biggest hearts that I've ever encountered as well. And you know, if you meet this guy, he is very driven. He is, if you want it, you have to go get it. You know, that's one thing that he, as one of my best friends, like I say, more family than friend, he hasn't allowed me to, or he's inspired me to chase after shit. You don't get, nothing comes easy. You know, and if something comes easy, then you probably didn't deserve it, or it's not going to last.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think about anybody that sees my social media and sees that I get to tag along with my rock star buddy in these super cool environments. Yeah, that's awesome. It's been amazing. But I've worked a day job and worked at being a musician for 20 plus years of my life as well. And, you know, he's taught me that, you know, nothing comes easy. You got to work for that shit, man.
100%. All right, sir. So time to break down your new single. And I mean Rattlesnake Fight. I mean, not the one that comes out on Friday, although we will talk about that one too.
That's not really my single.
Well, I mean, it's your version of the single.
100%.
So your latest single that's out right now is Rattlesnake Fight. And in my opinion, it's unlike anything I've ever heard before in this genre. Your rock roots are evident from the very first note of the electric guitar. It's very well written. The flow is unreal. The chorus is catchy as hell. It's got hook after hook after hook in the song. I think I've heard about 15 different phrases in this song that you can use on a t-shirt. It's an absolutely incredible single. It's amassed 25,000 plays on Spotify, and it's begun its viral trek on TikTok, where the Rattlesnake Fight challenge comes on. Although you have to be careful because there's other Rattlesnake Fight challenges you don't want to see. Now, where people have put even the lyrics together into a dance for you. This single's also a beer now. Like we got to break this down. How did Rattlesnake Bite come into fruition with you?
Well, I was plunking away on my guitar, and I came up with the riff, and I was sitting around. We were sitting around at Chad's place in the studio, and I was just and Chad, he turns to me and he goes, "What's that?" I'm like, little riff I wrote. He goes, "Come on, you didn't write that." And I'm like, "No, I actually did, but thank you. Thanks for the vote of confidence." And he immediately was like, "Dude, we got to write this one." I'm like, "Let's do it." We go into the studio, start laying down the demo, some scratch stuff. We get a beat and some music to it, and we start kind of fumbling through some stuff, just kind of melody stuff. And we didn't get like super far because Chad and I trying to run Pro Tools and record stuff. It's like, we need a guy.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, dude, I've learned that. Like, I can fumble through Pro Tools enough to put an idea down, and then I'm like, okay, I'm not a producer. I'll leave it at that.
It might as well be written in Sanskrit for me, man. It's
right?
Not a clue.
Totally. And so we shut it down for the day. We came back the next day, and Chad comes in and he goes, "What do you think about Rattlesnake Bite?" And I'm like, "That sounds ridiculous." And he goes, "Yeah, but like maybe it would be like a dance that would like it would get you off the floor and it would bite you." And I go, "Yeah, that's sure, why not? Let's roll with it." So we just started fumbling through melody and a story. So the other night, the boys and I were out in fine formation. I'm like, there was a song when it came on, "Stop the Conversation." And I go, "Is that silly?" And he goes, "No, I like conversation." And I'm like, as we all do.
Yeah.
So it just kind of started to fumble. And we wanted something that could take you away from anything you're doing, because everybody's always
100%. Yeah.
I got it right here beside me and I'm not even on it. So it was like, it even made me put down my phone and pulled me right up to the floor. And he's like, "Now let's describe." And I'm like, "The dance." He's like, "Yeah, slide to the side and tap that heel toe, with those sweet hooks of those repeaters." And Chad's a genius. And we both, you can hear his flavor in the song, but we both definitely guided it together. And we rewrote the chorus 6 times where we're like, "Nope, it's not good enough."
Yeah.
The phrase is, "Better is better. Better is always better." And at about the 6th time, we were happy with what was being said, the melody, and we got this demo down. And so then we sent it to Jeff. And Jeff's always so great at we're like, "We need a bridge, dude." And he comes back with the sweet half, right? And we basically reworked the lyrics a little bit, and it really fell into place so easily. It was awesome. And then it just evolved and evolved, and the production got super cool. And dude, I'm really proud of that song.
That's incredible. Was the TikTok dance a marketing ploy, or was that a 100% like fan reaction?
There was a bit of marketing behind it.
Okay.
It was something that we wanted to do initially, because we hired a choreographer out of Toronto to come up with a dance for the girls in the video.
Yeah,
But
that makes sense.
unfortunately, with the video, we didn't highlight the dancers like solely for enough so that people could learn that dance.
Mhm.
Right? It was all about. It was very flashy. Very flashy. And so we asked Katie, the choreographer, if she would create that little bit of a dance for us.
Mhm.
Because I always thought it was kind of funny because when Chad and I were first writing the song, in the chorus, it's the and we were always doing this like sweet ridiculous thing in the studio, and he goes, "It's ridiculous until everybody's doing it."
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
That's so true. So we kind of envisioned the dance being in that part of the song, but she created the dance for the pre-chorus, which is wicked, and it works really, really well. And
Yeah.
it's super neat to see people from Russia and Brazil, and like that blows me away, you know.
You're right, like it's going around the world, man. Like that's
Super neat.
incredible.
Super neat. Super neat.
Oh
Yeah.
man. Have you
So-
had
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Have you had the opportunity to perform it live yet?
Yep. 3 times, 4 times, maybe.
Nice. What can the fans expect from you on stage with this show?
Well, I definitely bring more of a like it's definitely country rock,
Mhm.
you know. But it's interesting because if you watch Chris Jansen play, that dude is like the Mick Jagger of country music.
True that. True that.
And it's kind of funny because they all kind of come from rock backgrounds as well.
Mhm.
And it shows because they like to. When I go see a show, I love the musicianship, don't get me wrong, but I want to get that energy of everybody having
Yeah.
a freaking blast on stage and the movement. And when I play music, I feel it. And that what I'm doing on stage, I'm not just making that up. It's just what's happening.
Yeah.
You know? So when we play Rattlesnake, it's really neat because I have 3 guitar players, you know, Ryan
Mhm.
Stead and Marcus Ramsey on either side. So we started with a sweet junk junk, and I start the first riff, and then it's shunk shunk. It goes to the next guitar player,
Yeah.
right? And we trade off across the stage to start it, and it's so much fun.
That's
You know?
beautiful.
So I love. I've finished with the song
Mhm.
a few times because it's just so upbeat and fun. The only problem is when you're done, everybody's like, "We want one more."
Right? Like the energy is so high. Yeah.
Yeah, which should never be a problem.
No,
But
true.
dude, it's a blast. I try to bring good energy, high energy to the live show for sure.
Has anybody been out in the crowd? Have you actually seen them dancing along to that song, doing the
The Rattlesnake Fight?
yeah.
No, I haven't been able to play it live since that came out. So there's only been a handful of performances, unfortunately.
Fair enough.
But it's
fair
neat
enough.
to see people. You're kind of barking up the right tree when you see people that have never heard the song before
Mhm.
dancing or trying to sing along. That's a cool moment. That's a neat moment.
Yeah, that part's like when you can actually see the lips moving in the crowd.
Oh,
It's
it's wicked.
I've even gotten that opportunity, and I'm itty bitty over here.
Good. Yeah. I'm itty bitty too. Don't worry.
Oh,
It's all about the soul building. It's not about. I've been really digging into that lately about success isn't necessarily measured the way we always think it's supposed to be measured. Success is being a great human and being, you know what, I'm grateful that I get to release music.
True
Like,
that.
that's super neat, you know. My good friend Christy always says, it doesn't matter, you're leaving your mark on the earth, it's gonna be here for years to come. And unless there's a huge solar flare, but you know.
Well, she's not wrong. I mean,
It's really cool, and it makes me feel blessed to be able to release music.
Mhm. When you release a single under your label, do you have a team that helps with the promo and the releasing and all the tracking, like at that aspect? How much of you do you actually get to put your hand into any of that?
Well, when you release the single, I've been part of picking them.
Mm-hmm.
As far as that goes, obviously you're like, what is everybody's opinion? So there's, you take into account everybody's opinion on what should be the release. Then you usually hire a radio tracker,
Mm-hmm.
depending on, well, it's usually a thing because they're the people that have all the contacts at the station. They know everybody. The people at the station don't want to hear, hey, it's Kadooh. Did you get my package?
Who?
So are you playing it or,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They're like, if this dude calls one more time,
He's you're just instantly on the blocked list, like not happening anymore. Radio station doesn't exist anymore, I don't think.
Well, yeah. Well, like, so it's interesting because so you hire those people to kind of do that work for you. I've been on a couple radio promo tours when I first started out,
Mm-hmm.
where you get, which is great because I like to go in and meet people. As much as I suffer from social anxiety, I overcompensate with talking way too much. So, I still love to shoot the shit with people and meet people. It's really neat.
Mm-hmm.
It's so neat to meet the people and the personalities within the industry. And being new to the country and music industry, it was really neat to meet all of those people kind of for the first time. And you want to make a great impression and hope that they get behind you and support you.
Yeah.
So
100%. Okay, so this part of the podcast we like to call Suspended in Time. Basically, I take a picture off your social media exclusively for our YouTube audience, and you have to explain what exactly is going on in this. So without further ado, this picture obviously needs no introduction whatsoever. I am just going to point over it. It's going to appear, and please, for the viewers on YouTube right now, please tell us what is going on in this picture right here.
In that picture, I got to meet Guy Fieri. I think that's however you want to pronounce his last name. I do believe it's Fieri. We were having a barbecue. Right? I think I'm right.
I think so.
Yeah, maybe. Well, whatever.
Guy, if you're listening, please just send me a message and let me know if we're saying it right.
1,600 messages of how to pronounce Guy Fieri's last name. Well,
please do it. I'd listen to every single one.
This was, yeah, right. There was literally, it was the day after my EP release at the Roxy in Vancouver.
Nice.
And a guy was coming up to film something with Chad. And so he brings his whole entourage and parks at Chad's property. And I get him in a Kadooh shirt.
Mm-hmm.
You got that for free, by the way. I'm still waiting for that and
it's in the mail.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I wrote out a check, and it was really neat to meet him. He's such a great dude. And when I first walked in, I was wearing that shirt, and he said, "Hey, when does the Hawaiian barbecue start?" or something. He poked fun at me, and I said, "As soon as we run out of blonde hair dye or something." I said,
"Oh God!"
As soon as we run out of blonde bleach for your tips.
No goes, doubt.
Oh. And he turned. He goes, "I like you." and we hit it off really well. And he's a really good dude. I actually just saw him. I was down in Cabo in September or October, and he was down at Cabo Wabo for Sammy Hagar's birthday, and I got to see him again. And it's funny. He goes, he said it 3 times. He's like, "Make sure you tell your mom I said hi," because my mom was there that day.
Yeah.
She was out in Alberta. And I go, "Okay, you've said it 3 times, Guy. Now I'm kind of freaked out." Like,
how much do you remember my mom, Guy?
Yeah, I'm like, "Is there something I need to know? You're not my real dad."
Please get blonde tips, Kadooh.
Yeah, just like all of a sudden,
sun hat, just rocking it all out.
Can make tacos like nobody's business.
Right? Oh man, that's incredible. Now every single one of us has a completely different view of what success looks like. For some, they want platinum records. Some, they want to beat attendance records. Some, in the words of Brett Kissel, just want to make a life, not a living. So complete this sentence for me. I believe Kadooh is or will be successful, when and why? There is no wrong answer. I just love hearing what the artist's goals are and to see if the fans can help them achieve those.
Um, when I can do music solely, which I haven't been able to quite do yet, that for me, like, I don't need to be rich and famous.
Mhm.
I just love playing music. And, you know, after I initially got the bug bit, jamming with Chad back in Hannah, to touring with State of Shock through the continent, you know, that just for me that was amazing. And for a while, I got to be the guitar player in State of Shock, and that was my job. Then, which was awesome. It gave me, it was such a neat milestone, and super, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just a great dose of culture and experience, I guess. And
Yeah, no
so
doubt.
for me, it would be great to be able to get back to doing music solely again. And you know what, just being a better human. I've really been dialing into myself, and just being balanced and kind to people. It's a really strange time in the world,
Mhm.
and I feel like there's a lot of segregation, and it, it still boggles my mind, because it's like we're still at this point. We're still unaccepting of everyone, and it drives me bonkers.
I hear you 100%.
Because
In
it's
my
like,
honest, in my head, it makes absolute no sense.
well, and I come from a small town and I had narrow views for a long time, you know, until I got out and started diversifying, literally,
Mhm.
you know, realizing how certain mentalities were so incorrect, um, and just to the minuscule jokes that we think are jokes that are completely inappropriate. That, you know, and hey, I like jokes. Jokes are jokes, you know. Ill intent, that's bullshit. Jokes are
Mhm.
jokes.
Mhm.
uh, but yeah, I think success for me would be to be a very balanced individual, a great rock for my beautiful girlfriend and for all my friends, and be able to just continue to play music, dude. It's awesome. That's success for me.
Perfect. So, what's next for you?
Um, I'm gonna take the bar. I figured I'd make a great lawyer.
Well,
Um,
hey,
no, I'm kidding.
eventually I'll probably need you.
They don't want any of my legal advice. Um,
I'd be
what's
Jim Carrey. Stop breaking the law, asshole.
Yeah, totally, 100%. I ran 2 red lights.
Speedy.
Um, next for me is the new EP. So Jeff and I and Chad just finished another song. Um, well, it's not finished. We started producing it again, or a work tape that I'm like, this has never left my brain. We have to do this.
Mhm.
And I'm jacked about this tune, and it's going to be it's the title of the EP. So basically, right now, picking the 6 to 8 songs that are going to be on the new EP, and finish those. Probably release early next year.
Now, curious, at what point does an EP become a CD?
Well, and that's the thing is, and to me, it's almost, do you spend the money in creating those because it's who needs another beer coaster?
True that. True that.
So is that just a waste of money?
Hmm.
Uh, I think you're better off to spend the money, and if it's popular, obviously, to go with vinyl.
Yeah, true.
You know, because there's this new nostalgia about vinyl, which
Hmm.
it never went away from me. I remember my babysitter having 8-track, but you know, there
My
again,
family still rocks the 8 tracks at home.
that's awesome. But that's the thing is, so I'm kind of torn in that sense. because, you know, or do you mean an EP turns into a CD? Do you mean like it turns into a full-length album?
Well, in both the physical aspect and like, why 8? Why don't we go to 12? Why don't we?
Well, because then it's an album,
Mhm.
right? So I think EP is anywhere from 5 to 8.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's Google, right? When I first started this whole EP thing, because I was so used to a band and putting out records or albums,
Yep.
I had to Google what an EP was.
I assumed that if you did like 3 or 4 songs, it was like EP, EP.
Yeah. So I think an EP is anywhere. It's probably anywhere from 3 to 8 songs or 4 to 8 songs. I don't know.
Yeah,
It just stands for extended play.
Yeah.
Instead of a single, it was the EP, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how
Are you planning on releasing the EP all together, or do you plan on releasing like one single and then another single, and then kind of lead up towards the full EP dropping?
I imagine that. Well, there'll probably be another single. Well, you know, fingers crossed. Right, and the toes.
Already.
Right. I'm quadruple jointed.
I don't even want to know what that looks like.
I am folded in more places than you want to know. There'll probably what'll happen, and these are things that I obviously don't have the specific answer for either. But pick a single, be like, okay, let's go with this single, and then eventually when you pick the EP, you've got the artwork, you got everything, then you drop the EP. Okay, the EP drops with this single, or is it, maybe it's the next one, or it's it's all, I don't know. To me, it's weird because I don't know what timing is good. Everybody says it's all about timing, but is it? Because there's so many artists now.
Yeah, it is a saturated market for it.
There's a release, there's always a release. So it's, what do? I don't know. I guess we release, so get the songs together, put your best foot forward, and cross all your fingers.
Perfect. Yeah. Kadooh, for all those new fans listening today, where can they follow you on the social media?
I quit social media. Screw it. I'm done.
You're just over it. If you want, send me a freaking letter.
Yeah. Here's my fax machine number. Yeah. You can page me. I'll get back to you. I promise.
Oh shit! Yeah, Morse code works too.
Yeah, telegraph.
Ooh, shit.
Right?
We totally lost everybody in this from like 16 and down, are just like don't know what they're talking about.
What's an abacus?
Yeah.
It's when Gene Simmons and the blonde chick from ABBA got together. That's an abacus.
Bravo! Oh, I like that one.
Oh yes, find me on social media at Kadooh Music, kadoohmusic.com.ca. That's the website. Kadooh on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter, but I don't tweet.
Yeah, I'm not into that tweeting stuff either.
Yeah, it's way too many. I can't get enough thoughts out within the amount of characters.
Right.
I'm a short story guy.
Right.
I like picture books. Yes. So I do have a personal page on Facebook that I always get in trouble because I post more stuff to my personal page than my music page. So
I'm the same way, and then at the same time, I'm sitting there wondering why is it only my family that likes my stuff?
Right. Yeah. Hey, my friends love me.
Yeah, my mom thinks I'm the best thing on planet Earth.
100%. We love our moms for that.
Darn right we do.
Yeah, I think I covered them all. Kadooh Music on Instagram, kadoohmusic.com or .ca. Kadooh is my music page on Facebook, and love you Twitter, but I don't use you. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. And you can also pick up your own Kadooh Rattlesnake Fight beer.
Yes, you can, unless you live in Ontario or Winnipeg or Manitoba.
Why do I have to be left out of this?
Or Newfoundland, or
this
it only went from Alberta.
I have to smuggle your beer to my house, Kadooh.
Well, you know what? Okay, here's the thing. I'm trying to get my hands on there's a remaining amount.
Mm-hmm.
But when Russell Brewing, I'm waiting for them to get back to me because I want a deal. It's got my name on it. I'm hoping they'll give me a deal.
Right.
And then I'll
Nice.
start exporting it illegally across the country.
Woohoo!
Is that on record? Shit.
Smokey and the Bandit.
Right?
Oh, that'd be incredible.
Yeah, it was, unfortunately, it was only BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan.
Fair enough. So Kadooh, thank you so much for having the time today to chat with me. This will be a podcast I will definitely have to listen to time and time again to fully absorb all the knowledge that you've just given me. I cannot wait to meet you face to face, hopefully on a stage somewhere very soon.
I don't know how much knowledge I've given you other than rambling a lot, but dude, I'm glad we finally got to do this. We've been back and forth trying to get this done. I love it, and if you want to ask me more questions, if you're done, that's good. Whatever. I always got lots of time for anybody that wants to sit with me and shoot the shit. I love it. So
I would gladly have you back on here again.
Sounds good, dude. I'm game.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
It's gonna get loud by a bunch of proud, their guitar slinging, whiskey coke drinking. Gonna throw it down, shout out to the crowd. Gonna play the Brooks and Dunn to keep them singing. Bartender, pour up another round.